Hey everybody, welcome to the Rig on Wheel show featuring MVT. This is the first ever truck driving recruitment show. I am Kameel, the CEO of Rig on Wheels, and joining me is Robert Pierson. He is the VP over in recruitment at Mesilla Valley. We are your ultimate destination for industry news, hot jobs, recruitment tips, all of that. So let's make history together. So welcome, Pierson. How you doing?
Excited to be here again. Robert Pierson, VP of Recruiting at Mesilla Valley Transportation. Currently coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, and happy to be on with you as always, Kameel.
Oh, wow. Now you in ATL. You are everywhere. I mean, like literally. I think this is the first
Yeah, I
time.
get to see a lot of this country just like a truck driver, though their job is much, much harder.
Yes, I would say that. But I think this is the first time we ever did the show and you be in ATL that I can remember, at least.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay, yeah, because I never remembered you being there. So, as always, we're gonna jump in right into some news now. I know I want to talk about the diesel going down a smidget. I know you're not real excited about it, um, but I am a little bit because for like the last 9 weeks, it's been increasing. So we get a little bit of a decrease. We are going from 4.7, $4.07 down to 4.58 down. And I know you're not going to be happy until it's like that for like a month because I mean, it's going into cold season. So kind of explain why I'm happy and you're like the Debbie Downer today.
Well, it's both a combination of mixed feelings on it. I'm glad to see the reprieve. As we've talked about on the show several times, fuel surcharges are a lagging indicator. So by all means, turn up the mileage on your trucks just a little bit this week. Take advantage of it, as the fuel surcharge will be a source of profit for you compared to previous weeks. With that said, I want to see it happen for 2-3 weeks more before I get too excited and it becomes a trend. There's a lot of geopolitical issues. Some Saudi Arabia and Russia still are holding back on fuel reserves, which it's a global market for fuel. So there's a lot of things impacting it at the moment. So I'll get excited about a month from now if it continues to go down in price, but I'm also aware that we're going to go in the winter time. With that said, it brings down costs anytime that the fuel goes down. Fuel surcharge right now is a big thing pushing inflation. When you go to the grocery store, that price gets ultimately passed on to consumers. So it's a 1-week victory. I don't want to be like the Lions, though, when they went 0-16 and would have got excited by a single win. So let's see how this plays out over the next month. But it's a step in the right direction.
Yes. Okay. And then like this is definitely a different turn because I'm normally the glass half empty person. So this is a different week for me. I'm kind of positive. But I'm just kind of happy that I guess I'm giving good news about diesel. So let's go there. But
Money will change your perspective.
yeah, I guess so. Money does make me happy. Now we've been talking about this, and I've been kind of hearing about this government shutdown, and I know it should not affect us that much in our industry, but we do know that if stuff doesn't happen within the next day, it's going to be a shutdown. Do you think anything kind of will hit us in the head that we're not expecting?
Yeah, you'll see that. So there's certain things that are considered essential services. That could be the TSA agents. It could be people at the border for the border crossings. What you will see is those essential services individuals will still come to work, but they don't know when that next paycheck is necessarily coming, and they may be furloughed, which
Yeah.
ultimately the last time we had a government shutdown led to some attendance issues in some of those essential services. So that's the thing, is you'll still see the TSA, you'll still see the people at border crossings or port of entries, but they may deal with attendance issues during that time, which means the wait times could be extended out. So it's one of the things to keep in mind is an unhappy workforce, both in the government as well in the private sector, will generally lead to attendance issues. So those functions won't shut down, but you may see delays where you normally wouldn't, just due to attendance issues if it follows previous trends.
Yeah, that sucks. And then, like you said, a longer wait, and then like this, the morale, employee morale.
Yep,
That's gonna be the biggest thing. Is the employee morale right there? That's gonna definitely take a dive.
it will.
Um,
It will. And they won't be friendly.
no, they're not gonna be friendly. And then that line at the airport isn't gonna be nice at all. I'm just thinking about
No,
it.
I'm already expecting next week when I get on a plane to have some extra time to have conversation with TSA agents.
Yeah, me too. Traveling as well. But then on a more positive note, myself and Rig on Wheels were written up in an article with Freightways on the Taking the Higher Road show. I was interviewed by Leah Shaver. She's the president and CFO of the National Transportation Institute. She talks a lot about driver retention and helps different carriers, large and small, when it comes to driver retention. And what she interviewed me about really echoed a lot of the things that Pierson and I talk about. But basically, regarding the consistent rebranding that carriers are able to do right now, truck drivers being the face when going to the shippers, the yards, all of that, as well as us as being third party recruiters being the face to the truck drivers and making sure we have a fluid communication between the internal recruiters at MVT or like companies, and it continues to be what would I say, like a hand holding or a send off when we send them off to MVT, or send the driver, I guess, off to MVT. So I had that conversation with Leah as far as with the proper communication, proper professional development with the drivers, and just keeping everything fluid, making sure just literally just making sure we're all locked in together because it's one big team. So definitely check that out. It's in Freightways. It was put out on Friday, last Friday, 7 days from today, actually. So what we want to do is go ahead and go to commercial.
Hello, everybody. I'm DeAnthony Davis. I'm a truck driver from Cleveland, Texas. I've been driving for 3.5 years now. I recently saw a podcast with Rig on Wheels on YouTube. I gave them a call. They was fast, they was efficient, they helped me out. I didn't really want to be over the road, so they got me a good regional job. And hey, you should give them a call.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. I want to jump right in and talk about some hot jobs. I know MVT's retention is doing very good, but I want to talk about two of the jobs that you do have open. Let's talk about Division 220 out of Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Is good.
Generally running the Western U.S. So if you live within a 100-mile radius of Salt Lake City, Utah, need people out there that can run the Western 11. Primarily, you're going to hit up places like Phoenix, El Paso, Portland, as well as Salt Lake City. You're out 7 to 8 days at a time. Depending on your verifiable experience, you're anywhere between 1,500 to, if you have more than 2 years of verifiable experience, you're close to about $2,000 a week or $106,000 a year on average. It's all no touch. Majority is drop and hook. We have customers for that specific division that we've had going on 20, 30 years at this point. It's a hard job. The sacrifice there is it's all mountain driving, but that's what gets you into that six-figure range as far as jobs go. So if you're out of Salt Lake City, you're an experienced driver, or you know a driver that fits that bucket and those caveats there, that's professional, safety-minded with a stable work history, absolutely looking for folks out of Salt Lake City currently that would be attending orientation, most likely in El Paso, Texas. We take care of airfare, hotel accommodations, meals, get you your $500 for a 2.5 day orientation. get you on the road and making money and being an integral part of our team going forward.
So let's talk about some of the duties in that 220 that they would have to do. So I want to talk
Yeah.
about the pros and the cons, because that is a good paying job. So why is that a good paying job? Because those drivers typically make more money than a lot of the other drivers in the country. So I want to talk about why the 220 drivers make that type of money.
Well, as we've talked about, the sacrifices you make with any job. You can have a job that's local and you get home every single day and you work Monday through Friday. Unfortunately, those jobs, depending on where you live in the U.S., pay about 14 to 16 bucks an hour. Some would argue not enough to justify going to trucking school in the first place. But look, if your priority is, I got to be home every night, I got to have a set schedule, you make that decision with your family on what works best for you. The flip side of the equation, you may say, you know what, for me, it's money. I got to make money. This has all been about making money and I got to be in the six figures. Then you look at a job and say, well, what do I need to do in order to take it? This job, what makes it more difficult than say that person just running locally is you're out 7 to 8 days. So you're not necessarily home during every single week. You're generally home on that 7 to 8 day mark. You're doing a lot of mountain driving, and that mountain driving comes with its own sets of challenges, both depending summertime as well as wintertime. That's the difference between those two, though, is do you want to make a six-figure income, or are you looking for an $80,000 a year job? Are you looking for a $50,000 a year job? It's an honest conversation both with yourself, your recruiter, as well as your family about what matters most to you. So Division 220 is not for everybody. If you say, hey, I can only work Monday through Friday, or I don't want to do mountain driving. If I'm in Salt Lake City, I want to go east, get out of the mountains and run into the prairie. You're going to make less money. And it doesn't mean that it's a bad job. It just means your life priorities are different. If you're looking from a money standpoint, you still get luxuries that come with it. We are not a specialized carrier. You're not having to hand unload the truck and be a lumper. You're not having to go out and get any type of endorsements. We don't need hazmat. There's nothing in that trailer that's going to make you glow at night. It's still a somewhat simplistic job from that standpoint. But on the flip side of the equation, the skill set that you bring there is that you're able to handle that mountain driving.
So when it comes to mountain driving, is chains, right?
There can be chains, yep.
Okay, so if a driver has never dealt with chains before, will they get their training at MVT, or do they have to already have the knowledge of chains?
No, we'll go over that training on there. It's not very complex, but there is the knowledge of doing it. And a lot of people learn best by first seeing it done before they do it themselves. That is not a problem. And given the fact that from a qualification standpoint, I require as little as 6 months experience in the last 12 months, most likely that person with 6 months of experience has not been through that process yet, potentially. So they'll need somebody to physically show them that.
Okay, perfect. Now let's talk about Nashville, Tennessee. So
Yep.
Division 400.
Division 400 continue to have a need for about 5 more individuals living out of the greater Nashville area within a 100-mile radius. That job specifically runs to the Northeast. And by Northeast, I do not mean New York City or New England, but specifically upstate New York, Ithaca, Binghamton, Buffalo area, or central Pennsylvania, and then going back down into the middle of the country, South Central, South Midwest, and then back to Nashville. Those individuals will make on average about $90,000 to $95,000 a year. Again, all no touch, no endorsements required, and a very dedicated contracted freight of business. And that's the important part, contracted freight of business. So you're not dealing with a ton of broker loads, which in this current environment, most carriers are doing more broker loads than they'd care to. The challenge with broker loads is A, they don't know you, they don't care about you. B, specifically, those loads tend to be live loads, not a lot of drop and hook opportunity when you're piecemealing loads via broker loads. So with this particular division, you have a high concentration of contracted freight, which increases the likelihood of you having drop and hook opportunities, keeping you moving so that you can get the miles in.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Kayla was saying that she had a question. Did you want to do the question now, Kayla, or did you want to go to commercial?
I do have one question ready right now that had come in. So what can drivers expect with MVT as we're approaching the holiday season? How does volume look, just with the economy the way that it is now?
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing freight picking up as we go into that Christmas rush. It is not what it was last year. Any recruiter that tells you that they're going gangbuster is lying to you.
Big time.
They are not. There is nobody. We all compete for the same freight. We all have the same economic challenges. Our economy, 70% of our economy is driven by consumer spending, and consumer spending is tight right now. With interest rates sitting at around 7%, there's not a whole lot of people taking out big loans, or at least they shouldn't. So consumer spending is suffering. With that said, versus the number of drivers that we have, number of trucks that we have, matching up to the customer base that we have, we're doing well. The key caveat to that is right now we have to win customers based on having great customer support. That comes with on-time percentage deliveries. There's two ways to compete in this industry. You can be the cheap carrier that's going to haul everything as cheap as possible. That's one method. That did not work out so well for Yellow. I can point to a number of other companies that method did not work out well for, and this is when those people that are, your cheapskates tend to go out of business or get acquired. The other part of that equation is that you can offer a high standard of service. We've been fortunate. We literally got an award as a Carrier of the Year from Ryder just this past week for the service that we offer them on about 15 different accounts. That's helping us as we go into the fall months and into the winter months here, that I would anticipate our fourth quarter freight being very attractive. We've also recently picked up some accounts with companies like TJ Maxx and Target and some other accounts that are supplementing into our business at this moment because of our customer service and our on-time delivery with our professionals on the road. So going into the fourth quarter, if you come and join MVT, I would be optimistic over the next 3 to 6 months. There's a lot of opportunities for us. And during all this process, we've not been losing customers. So we've picked up customers. We're not getting the same amount of freight from customers as before, but we've been able to hold steady because of the fact that we're adding customers while in the process not losing them.
Well, congratulations with that award for Ryder, that's for sure. But being a recruiter, I definitely want to say this, and I was writing this down so I can tell Rig on Wheels recruiters as we talk to the drivers, that MVT is definitely going to want drivers that can build relationships, because that only makes sense. Okay, so let's think about it like this. If MVT was rewarded a customer service award from Ryder, right, for 15 accounts that they have, and then was awarded other accounts, ding, 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 they're only going to want drivers that can keep that going. Consistency is the key. Consistency in building relationships for other professional drivers out there. That only just makes sense. So that is literally what not tomorrow, but on Monday in the sales meeting, that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about, that we are going to communicate that to the driver. So some of the things that making sure to show that to the internal recruiter, Josue, they need to make sure that they're answering the phones, being respectful when they're on the phone, showing up promptly to orientation, things like that, to show that they can build relationships, that they're going to be on time with freight, just to encourage that they can be that professional driver, because that's the name of the game right now. Because like you said, everybody's competing for the same business. Nobody's having all of this freight for a holiday season because of inflation and interest rates and all of that. And like I said before in the last segment, it's literally about relationship building. So thank you for saying that. But again, that's pretty cool that y'all won that award.
Yeah, It is, and our drivers are definitely what made the difference. What I would say to any driver, though, is we do not live in the environment that we've lived in last year.
No.
Being on time, even to show up on time to orientation, is really important right now. One of my responsibilities with the company here at MVT is I have to protect the well-being of our 1,900 drivers on the road. And what I mean by that is my hiring decisions have to represent the drivers that we presently have. So I can't have a new person come in and potentially ruin an account for us, or for lack of a better term, do something stupid.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't just impact that driver, it impacts the livelihood of 1,900 individuals on the road. So as an example, I'll give you an anecdotal story that happened this week. We had a driver in orientation. He was late the first day. He was late the second day of orientation, and he was asked to leave. Now, I want him to be successful. I want him to have the best possible career. But we have to look at that in this present environment and go, is this guy going to be trustworthy with showing up on time with freight? We didn't have other individuals show up to orientation late. He was literally on his own, coming in late each and every day. Unfortunately for him, we had to tell him, you know what, we're not going to move forward with you. You put us at risk, and more importantly, you put our 1,900 drivers at risk. It's one of those things that probably last year you could have gotten away with, and most carriers would have said, no, we're fine. Come on in, because they were desperate for capacity. In the current environment that we live in, if you get fired from a company and they put down on the verification of employment terminated late deliveries, that probably got overlooked by most carriers 12 months ago. This is not unique to MVT. Most carriers now are going to look at that and have a real problem with that in today's environment. So be cognizant. If you have abandoned equipment on your background, if you have late deliveries peppering your background, it's not to say you won't get a job, but you most likely won't get the job that you truly want. And that's the key thing at this moment, is there's those consequences over the course of this year. So just be cognizant as a driver. It doesn't just impact your current job. It impacts the other drivers that you're with on the road sharing freight with, as well as your future career prospects.
I feel like I'm in church writing notes every time
Testify.
you say, yes, because it is a change in the culture. Like, you see it here and there. As much as it's tight right now, and it's tight in recruiting right now, but I kind of still like what's happening, because it's a new sheriff in town. It's cleaning up the industry. I really am passionate about trucking, and so it's cleaning up the industry. And so all the bull malarkey and all of that stuff, people that are not taking this industry seriously, from people that jumped in being owner operators and weren't educating themselves on how to be business owners, right? Cleaning that mess out, right? Then drivers that were choosing to be truck drivers because of a plan C, D, E, and F, they're being wiped out. So now we can get back to people that really believe in this industry, want to bring freight to people, because nothing happens in the United States without a truck driver. So bringing this back to being a respectable industry. So yes, it's a new sheriff in town. The culture shift is changing, and I am here for it. I love it. I do. I absolutely love it. I'm gonna be honest.
It's a valuable part of the process. It's painful to go through, but look, any profession, I don't care if it's doctors, if it's cops, if it's postmen, if it's truck drivers, 2 to 10% of those professions, or any profession, you will find the bad apple. If you look at the trucking driving base, 90% of drivers are legitimately great at what they do. Take professionalism seriously, execute, and are experts behind the wheel of that truck and interacting with the customers. That 2 to 10% of our industry that aren't hurt us. They give us a reputation on the road. It's the guy throwing a piss bottle out the window on the interstate. It's the person that's at a customer that shows up 2 hours late and can't figure out why the customer's pissed off and seems indifferent about it. It's the individual that's now being dinged on the clearinghouse because they can't pass a drug test. These people going away is a painful process. It's for them, it's for our industry, it hurts us, but in the long run, we'll be better off of it. Because the problem is, your people that do not interact with trucking companies on a general day remember our industry based off of those 10% that stand out as a bad representation. So as those people get pushed out, again, the process is painful. It's not real fun for us as a carrier. It's not fun for the drivers individually. But this is a bit of a refresh. And if you can survive it and you can get through 2023, as we go into 24 and 25, our industry should be much more efficient, much more professional, and better off because of it.
I agree. This brought me to something, and we probably need to have a segment right after this. We're going to go to commercial, but before we go to commercial, I want to say this. We're going to have a segment because we get these questions, and you and I are very down to earth, and this is why I want to have this segment. We're not these hidey-toity people. I don't even know if that's a phrase, but So, of how they can realistically stay professional truck drivers. And I'm going to explain that more when we come back. So, Kayla, if you could take us to commercial, and then when we come back, just tips to being able to stay a professional truck driver. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, so what I wanted to do is go over tips of continuing to stay a professional truck driver. And what I mean by that is not necessarily on the job. Um, of course, we could talk about that, and we will, talk about that. But I want to talk about like when you're on vacation or you on your 48 or your reset and you're just living life. And we all have pressures and everything. You don't want to succumb to those pressures, right? And so it's just like when you are going through your weight loss or exercising or whatever, you have to pre-plan for certain things, right? So for an example, you are now home for the weekend. You know that your Uncle Junior is having a birthday party and everybody is having fun and all of that type of stuff. I would definitely recommend that you leave your pickup truck at home and you make sure that you Uber to Uncle Junior's house and either have somebody take you home or you Uber home. One of the two. But if you know, for an example, you know your family and you know your friends. You have different sets. I can't be the only one that have different sets of type of family and friends, right? So you know that if you are with this set of friends and you know that Andre is going to have open vodka in his car, you don't get in his car. You already plan to have an Uber. Because if you get in his car, even though that's not your open vodka, when you get pulled over by the constable, that is a DUI. That's an open bottle, and that's going to be considered a ticket, and it's going to be the same as a DUI on your record. That's one issue. We come up as a recruiter, we see that quite a bit. Most carriers will not look at you for 5 years. You might have some, but for 3 years. But either way, to be saying that you went to truck driving school, who cannot have a paycheck for 3 years?
Yep.
That's
You,
a
you got to you got to make some smart decisions in life, and it's not just when you're technically on the job, and that really goes for all of us. So if I'm a VP of recruiting and
right.
I do something stupid, there's consequences just because it happened outside of working hours. There's consequences if it's a stupid enough decision. As a professional truck driver, a DUI is a kiss of death. It
Yes.
is something that you, in theory, may be able to overcome in the long term. But get ready to eat baked beans 3 meals a day for the next 3 to 5 years, because you're not going to be having a lot of opportunities to make money in the trucking industry. It's making sound decisions. It's taking care of your mental health, taking care of your physical health when you're outside of the truck. It's educating yourself. It's setting a Google alert on your phone so that you get trucking news and you keep abreast of the latest developments in the industry that you work. And it's having people around you in your life that are supportive of your career. I don't
Yes.
care if you're going to be a truck driver, if you plan on running a marathon, if you decide you want to get in shape. You want people around you that support the career decisions that you've made. So that's the thing is, if Uncle Joe can't understand why you don't want to do a keg stand at his party, Uncle Joe maybe doesn't support your career decision of becoming a professional driver over the road. We all have those decisions. People in our lives, we meet them in high school. Sometimes they're family members, sometimes they're neighbors, where you have to go, this person's a loser and this person's going to hold me back in my career. And it's sad, but that's one of the hard parts of life is the people around us. Some will support us and make sure that we stay on the straight and narrow. Others are going to be that proverbial source of temptation into things that are not going to help our career. And over the years, I've seen a lot of truck drivers that give me the story. I was in a vehicle and somebody was smoking weed,
Mm.
or I was in a vehicle and there was an open container, or well, we were at a birthday party and everybody was drinking. I don't see what the problem is. Take control of your life, take control of your career. It will separate you. Again, we talked about that 2 to 10% of the industry that's going away. One of the
Mhm.
commonalities that you'll see is the people in their life aren't really that supportive over their career choice. This
Yeah.
is not working the drive-through at McDonald's. This is an actual profession, a career choice. You have to treat it as such.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would, yeah, if people are not supportive of, and you don't have to be rude. I sometimes can be rude about it. I use the word no before yes, but if they're not supportive of you bettering yourself, I mean, you can, yeah, that part. But another thing, I know we all have aches and pains as we get older, and definitely being with a company where you have proper medical, and typically your company's medical kicks in after 60 or 90 days. Um, but CBD, I'm not going to get into all the political with it and where I stand or don't stand, but CBD is a no if you are a driver. If you want to indulge in CBD, whether you smoking it, putting it on, drinking it, or oil or cream or whatever, that's might be okay, but not as a professional truck driver. I know they sell it at the gas stations, they sell it in the truck stops, but it is not for truck drivers. Now, another thing is, even though they put on those labels, it doesn't have enough THC in it to come up on a drug test. It's not regulated. Just like vitamins are not regulated, they're not regulated. So when you go and take a drug test, there's no way to say whether or not that shows up, and there's your career. So now you've you have a CDL that you can just toss out of the window, because a lot of the companies are not going to be able to hire you. And if they are, it's going to be quite some time before they are. And again, are you able to sustain yourself without a paycheck for that amount of time? Even if you go through the SAP program and are ready to return to duty, you still might have majority of your companies are not able to hire you right away. That's another, take control what you can, and that's definitely something you can control. Stay away from CBD, period. That's
Marijuana has definitely had an impact on our industry. If you look since the implementation of the clearinghouse, it's knocked out about 120,000 drivers at this moment. 58% of those are marijuana THC related, that it is knocked out. So it is not a small percentage. It is a large chunk of the driver base that we're currently feeling that's no longer with us at this moment. Keep in mind, we are not regulated at the state level. We are regulated at the federal level. The Department of Transportation or the FMCSA really are where we get our guidance from as an industry. So if your state that you reside in has made marijuana legal, or if you travel to a state that has legal marijuana, again, you are beholden to the federal government. It gets into the 1938 Commerce Clause Act. We are a federal agency for federal. We are regulated at a federal level as part of the Commerce Clause. Specifically going up and down the road like that we are not regulated at the state level. So just keep that in mind. Do not get excited in the state you leave when they say something's legal, or you go to a gas station and they have their assortment of little pills. It doesn't apply to you. You do not live in that life. We live on a federal life, and until it is approved at the federal level, which even when that day comes, which it probably will at some point, I guarantee you will see there's certain professions that will not be able to partake. You do not want a pilot of a 737 rolling a doobie before flying a plane, just like you don't want a truck driver going down the road after getting high. So I do not see any time in the immediate future that truck drivers will legally be able to consume marijuana.
Yeah, I would definitely agree there. So those are our tips for that right there. It just came to me. I was like, I definitely wanted to say that, because we get those quite often, and we know that drivers sacrifice and they go to school and they're doing it so they can have a way for their family, making money for their family, and those are the things that those shut doors before criminal activity can shut doors. Those are the things that shut doors on your future as a truck driver for quite a long time right there. And it's very heartbreaking. So I wanted to actually give those right there as tips. So I want to go to a commercial break, and then I want to come back and have Pierson explain how my husband will be able to win me a car. I'm always excited about that part a lot. We actually had Darcella add that into a blog about that car situation. She didn't say my husband. I wanted her to put that into the blog, but she didn't. She just said about the car. But if you could definitely, Kayla, take it to commercial, and then Pierson will talk about the car when we get back.
Mi nombre es Carlos Vázquez. Tengo trabajando 3 años aproximadamente y somos B1 y andamos en territorio de Estados Unidos. Lo que me gusta de MVT es que tiene buenos viajes, buenos camiones y muy buenas millas. Mi comunicación con el despacho es muy buena y todo eso, y siempre están a la orden del día. ¿Qué pienso del equipo de los camiones? Pues que están muy bien y les dan sus mantenimientos, sus PO y todo lo demás, alineación y balanceo, todo, cambio de llantas y excelente servicio. La compañía cada trimestre regala un auto para los operadores. Me motiva pues a crecer más como persona y pues, para dar el 100, como dicen, para la compañía.
Welcome back, welcome back. So Pierson, take it away. Tell us about winning the car.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are obsessive about fuel economy. There's two ways you can save money. Once you purchase the truck, once you picked up the customers, you can either save it through payroll and driver pay, or you can save it through fuel. We prefer to definitely save through fuel efficiencies. In an industry that's averaging about 6 to 6.5 miles a gallon, we traditionally average about 9 to 9.5 miles a gallon. There's many ways that's accomplished. One of the big ways that is accomplished is through driver behaviors on the road. In particular, how you drive uphill versus downhill, how you pre-plan, how often you get off the road through having to accelerate or decelerate. The driver is the biggest difference maker in fuel economy by a wide margin, though we take many other steps. To reward our drivers that are as obsessed with fuel economy as we are, every quarter, whoever gets the best fuel economy gets a brand new car, generally a 2022, 2023 Nissan Sentra. Currently, right now, we have a black one sitting in the middle of our lobby in El Paso, just waiting for the recipient that's going to win it for the fourth quarter. Everybody's eligible. We've had people that have been with MVT 20 years that have won the car. We've had people that have been with us as few as 6 months that have won the vehicle. Just they're good at what they do. So keep that in mind. It also impacts more on an annual basis. So just because you don't win it for a quarter, keep in mind that if you win it over the course of a year, we also give $25,000 in cash annually to whoever gets the best fuel economy. It is a competition. It's unique to to MVT in our industry. But with that said, we have a lot of drivers that's one of their career goals. Is we talk about a driver bettering themselves. Is they want that little notch in the nightstand for them. They want to get that brand new car for best fuel economy on the fleet.
Yeah, that's what we wrote up in the blog was about that. But more importantly, the biggest thing that you didn't mention is what we put in this blog is about how MVT actually coaches to help the driver. It's a win-win situation, right? So MVT coaches the driver to help them win the car. So basically how they can be better with their mileage, their diesel mileage, their fuel mileage and things like that. So can you kind of walk us through that a little bit more?
Yeah, we have a department within our organization that's just entitled driver development, and their sole function is how do we make drivers better. Now, it could be safety focused, where we have a driver that may have an issue with hard braking or potentially some other issues. They're there for the safety purpose of it, but the other part of it is literally coaching a driver up on career development opportunities or getting the most fuel economy out of their truck. They're often able to identify if we may have an issue with a truck that is stopping you from reaching said goals. The other part of that, though, is they'll work with you in those steps of the process that it takes to get that kind of fuel economy. It is a science at this point. We have a proven track record. It's not a small fleet of like 10 trucks. So, I mean, we have a pretty large body of work that we're able to look at those trends from driver A to driver B and see statistically the difference between those two drivers, and one gets one result versus the other. And so this is a team effort. We want you to win that car. We want you to win the $25,000. If you're receptive and open to it, you will find you have a whole team of people that are literally at your disposal to get you to that opportunity.
That's one way to keep a driver. That is one way to tell a driver, this is a culture where we want you to be here.
And successful.
Yes, and successful. And to keep the environment clean. That's for sure. Okay, great. Love it. So now I know you said for fourth quarter. So that means that they get to win. I know it rolls through December. So when do they actually get the keys? January, February?
Yeah, we do the driver appreciation. We do a driver appreciation day once every quarter. Generally, it's the first Monday of the second month of a quarter. But every quarter we do driver appreciation. So we're not a carrier that celebrates it once a week. We try to spread it out more so we can make sure that we have a chance to see more people, in particular those that are in the office environment. With that said, every quarter we give it away at the driver appreciation. That way, generally Royal Jones, our owner and founder of the company, can be there. George Chastain, our chief operations officer, Monica Fuller, our VP of ops, and a whole litany of other people want to be there. It's a big deal for us, not just the driver. It's a big deal for us. We take a lot of pride in it as an organization. The person that won it last quarter averaged 12.4 miles a gallon. Trust me, it's a big deal. I don't want to say that they get the rock star treatment, but we get pretty excited about it.
Yeah, because what's the average miles per gallon that MVT is doing right now?
Yeah, right now we range between 9 to 9.5.
So
We
if they're
generally get a
doing
best.
12, they're kind of like a god around there. Like they are.
Yeah, oh, it's impressive. It's
Right.
impressive. And here's the thing that I can tell you, talking to our peers, there's a lot of other companies that think we're lying about this. We aren't. It's one of the reasons why I will tell anybody, I will stack up our fleet of drivers versus any other fleet in the industry. Ours are better, and we have the metrics to show it.
Yes. Yeah. That's pretty outstanding right there. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so what I want to do is go to commercial. I want Kayla, if you can run the commercial with the tall guy where he's showing the MVT truck. And I like to point out the fact that it's not like he's like an average height. He's pretty tall, so it's showing how big the truck is, and everything, and how comfortable the driver will be in the truck. And then Pierson will be able to explain more about the truck when we get back.
At Mesilla Valley Transportation, every driver is behind the wheel of a late model International LT, a truck that takes comfort, convenience, and safety to a whole new level. Join us as we explore the impressive features of this powerhouse on wheels. The open road is full of surprises, and sometimes that includes unexpected encounters with wildlife. But worry not, the International LT has you covered. The front end protection guard offers an extra layer of defense, protecting you from animal strikes. Drive with confidence, knowing that you're shielded from the unexpected. We all know how important it is to keep our batteries charged, and our International LTs have your back. The Cummins X15 is equipped with an auto start feature, ensuring that your batteries are automatically recharged when they run low on volts. It's a seamless process that keeps you powered up and ready to hit the road. Disc brakes and an engine brake provide reliable and safe stopping power when you need it most. You can have peace of mind knowing that you're in control. Safety is at the forefront of what we do. Our International LTs are equipped with top-of-the-line safety features to ensure your well-being while out on the road. These tractors are equipped with Bendix fusion protection, collision mitigation, and lane departure warning. Achieving good fuel efficiency deserves recognition. With the International LT, your efforts don't go unnoticed. When you consistently achieve impressive miles per gallon, the International LT rewards you with increased speed. It's a little extra motivation to keep you pushing for better fuel economy. After a long drive, you're ready for a well-deserved break. With the International LT, you can enjoy your rest period in absolute comfort. Thanks to its auxiliary power unit, you can keep the driver's cabin heated or cooled just the way you like it. No matter the weather outside, you'll always find your sweet spot within our International LTs. The International LT understands that comfort extends beyond driving. It's a space where you can truly feel at home. I'm a big guy, and I have room to move around in here. With plenty of room to spare, the International LT accommodates even the tallest drivers. And there's ample storage for all your clothes, cooking essentials, and tools, making life on the road even more convenient. Speaking of cooking, bring along your appliances and don't sacrifice any luxuries thanks to all of our International LTs being equipped with built-in inverters. Dry your hair, make a smoothie, or play a game, all from the comfort of your truck. We take pride in our well-maintained fleet, and if by chance you do come across something wrong on your truck, you're never far from help thanks to our valuable relationship with Penske. With more than 750 brick-and-mortar Penske shops nationwide, their expert team is always ready to assist you. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, they'll get you taken care of and back on the road in no time. And there you have it. Just a few things about this late model International LT that make MVT the place to be.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you. So, Pierson, take us away. Tell us about the truck.
Yeah, absolutely. All 2020 or newer trucks at this moment. We've kind of gotten rid of some of the last of the 2019s. It's really an OTR equipped truck for regional jobs. And so instead of your traditional 56-inch sleeper berth, it's a 71-inch sleeper berth, essentially specced out for a team, even though most of the time we're hiring solo drivers. So you have ample space. Because of the APU unit, you don't have to bring a power inverter. Literally, the plugs are already in there, as Joe pointed out while he was messing around in the truck. There are plenty of opportunities to eat healthy by being able to prepare food in the truck. They're well maintained, get good fuel economy. We refer to them as the blue beast going down the road. Plenty of power to get up any hill that you may need to get up with while getting great fuel efficiency with the driver doing their part within the truck. Don't have to worry about going to places like DFW, where Dallas, there's anti-idling laws. That APU is a godsend. You will always be comfortable in the truck. Operated by Penske. So as an example, God forbid you ever do get a bad truck or something goes wrong on the truck, they can get you a sub or a replacement truck within hours instead of you potentially wasting days on the road waiting for a repair that may not be that easy to get. So between the relationship with Penske as well as the superior equipment to begin with, you're given the resources to be successful on the road above and beyond just the freight that we move.
Perfect. Perfect. Love it. Love it. I really like those trucks. I like the fact that they're big enough where you can have somebody that's more than an average height and they're not like all crunched together, and it's really good. Now, and then because you have teams, so
Yep.
you need space.
Yep.
That
Absolutely. You will not be claustrophobic in that truck.
that's perfect right there. Awesome. So thank y'all for tuning in again. Normally we do everything on Tuesday, so thank you for tuning in on this off day today. But if you all just come back on Tuesdays 3 p.m. Central Standard Time is typically when we are on. Did you have any closing words, Pierson?
Continue to operate safely out on the road, be it with UMVT or any other carrier. Respect your profession, open communication, and when the time comes that you go, it's time to make a jump, consider MVT and Rig on Wheels for that next career choice.
Yes, and also if you are looking actively or know anybody else that is looking, give us a call right now at 281-968-3100, 281-968-3100. Also go to rigonwheels.com, and fill out an application. Thank you. Have a good day.